Hello and welcome to a new little series of coffee and confrontation. It's basically like an update of what's been happening here, what I'm up to, and what's planned for the future. And maybe some new things that I got in the mail or things that I hope to bring to you in future videos. So this is my Confrontation Corner. So I've got all my Confro stuff here in this corner. Aside from my Hero Hammer stuff, the old Games Workshop Old Hammer stuff. And yeah, this is a good little motivator for me. So it's basically, I'm going to set myself some targets and try to achieve them by the next time I make the next coffee and confrontation video. So what have we got planned? Well, you did see some Cry Havocs that I had. I've got 3 of those, and the first volume is out now as a look back retrospective and flip through of that one there. I've got the other 2 filmed, and I'll bring those out shortly. Paul managed to pick up these 2 characters, so we've got Misericord and the Templar of Hod. So there'll be 2 profiles we can use for confrontation and for hybrid as well. I'm working on some of my Soldiers of the Plains for Tinabor, for Ragnarok, and of course confrontation as well. So that's coming along, steadily, but I'm getting back into it. Nick in Australia, Western Australia, has kind of sent me this guy. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I know he's the Goblin Assassin that was part of the Carnier's Act story, and he kindly sent me one of those, plus some Core Knight Warriors for the channel and for our videos and games and that kind of thing. So thanks again, Nick, for that. That's pretty amazing, mate. So that's been sitting there for such a long time. I thought yesterday, that's it. I'm going to take it out. I'm just going to start chipping away at it. And by the time the next video comes out for the next update, it should be finished. And this one is, there you go, the brief. So I'm working on that now because we are going to play a 400 point or 400 AP game of confrontation in a couple of weeks, me and Paul, against his Midnor, and I wanted to take a Brotherhood of Steel, Brotherhood of Bronze list. So when I went through the Cry Havoc, gaming aids, I think it was for issue 2 or issue 3, they had a Brotherhood of Bronze list in there, and I thought, wow, okay, I really want to take that. So I sort of made a list for Confrontation 3.0 for Brotherhood of Bronze, and I'll be taking that in that battle report. So that's basically the last piece I need to paint in order to complete that. I've got some terrain here from THM Miniatures. That's Thierry, and I've had this stuff painted, obviously, and I've done a review on the Crown Command channel as well when I first got them, but I've never really got around to actually fully painting them. So I want to try to do the best job I can on these pieces to make them look the best that I can possibly show them, so that people can see that this is the closest thing you're going to get to those, to replicating those battlefields like the Cry Havoc magazines in the studio and that kind of thing, with far less fuss and far less mess, because I've dealt with plaster way back in the day, and it's one of the filthiest, dirtiest, most dustiest materials to work with. It's beautiful to carve and sculpt, and I did bases with it and everything. But yeah, it's really, really messy, and I just I can't do it in here. It's just way too difficult. I need a shed or a external studio where I can make a lot of mess, and I really don't want to do that here. So this is the best alternative, and thankfully I will be making another purchase, as I was so impressed with the first batch of terrain pieces I got from THM that we're looking at doing the sort of the desert sand dune type board with the Scorpion set. So this is the Ragnarok set. I'm going to get the Scorpion set so we can have alternating boards, and then we're getting a mat for that one as well. So that, it just means I don't have to make a sand covered board. Again, it's just more materials, more mess. It's just easier just to get a mat, neoprene mat, and away you go. So looking for that into the future, which would be really good. So when all the pieces are complete, I'll do a video on that and present them the best way I can. In terms of Ragnarok, these are the final pieces I need to paint for my proposed 1100 point. I don't know exactly how many points it will be in total, but it's definitely over 1,000 points now for that Tin Arbor Ragnarok list. So these are the remaining models I need to paint, including the one I'm working on now, in order to finish that target. Now, I probably will not finish that by the time the next video comes out, but it's, we're looking at doing Tin Arbor and Mid-Nor as two factions for that. So we definitely have enough models for it to make small games for Ragnarok. And yeah, that's going to be something happening, this year for sure. I mean, I'm very close now to reaching that. I'm just going to get the Mid-Nor stuff that Paul's working on at the moment, and probably, amassing that with my collection of Mid-Nor models to make two armies for that. And that'll be really fun because the rule set's still in Australia. I'm going to get it over at some point later this year, and we can delve into the game that we have not played, but I'm very interested and keen to give it a go. And because I like those sort of mass ranked rank and flank type games, so that'll be really exciting to get into at some point in the future. And lastly, I just want to give a shout out to Jeremy at the End of the World Gaming, who very kindly sent me and Paul some miniatures to help us out in, for the channel, getting some more factions on the table. So I did get some orcs from the Cadwell and Merchants Facebook page, and these would be perfectly supplement those with some Amok Slayers and some Orc Jackal Warriors. So yeah, they'd be really fun to paint. Really love the Amok Slayers. I think they're probably some of the best and coolest looking orcs within the range. So I look forward to doing those and putting them on the table and giving orcs a spin at some point. So we can vary the factions, as our factions are quite limited at the moment. But I suppose that will just increase as time goes on and we amass and collect more models. Paul's got a few factions there, but not enough models to make complete 300, 400 point or 300, 400 AP lists as yet. So we're getting there. And finally, I'm going to start a series of painting videos to show you, how I approach and how I paint the Rackham miniatures, which varies differently from the Oldhammer style painting method. It's very, very quite different from that. And, how I do it, I'm trying to emulate what Martin and Vincent did in the studio, and Sebastian as well. And very, very difficult to do, but I really enjoy the process of, trying to get those miniatures as close to the photographs that I see of those wonderfully painted models back in the studio days. So yeah, expect some videos to drop about that. So I might do it in different parts, like do the head and do the arms and then do the body as in a 3-part video, because the process takes a lot longer than a regular miniature. If I was painting like an Oldhammer dwarf, well, that is much different than it's a lot easier, than doing something like a Tin Arbor dwarf. The Tin Arbor dwarf will take me 10 times longer than doing something for Oldhammer. So yeah, I think maybe short videos focusing on certain areas, like maybe doing the non-metallic metals, because Mid-Nor's non-metallic metals, the colors and hues of the metals are much different from any other faction. So it's a lot darker, and they've got a lot more sort of tints and that kind of thing, and the colors and that kind of stuff. So yeah, look forward to that, and more of those will be coming in the future. So finally, as I get to finish my coffee and talk to you guys about what's happening with Confrontation, I hope that you've enjoyed this update, and just let you know that we'll have videos are more, greater frequency than before, as I really want to get on top of my miniature lead pile that has been sitting there for, some miniatures have been sitting there for well over 10 years. And I really want to get them painted and get them on the table and start playing it, because now luckily I have Paul to play with, so I can really start to share and experience our games together, and our enjoyment of playing Confrontation, Ragnarok and Hybrid. So stay tuned for more videos in the future, guys. Thanks for your support. Please leave your comments below as to what you're looking forward to seeing in the future, or if you have any suggestions. And please share my channel to like-minded people who enjoy the Confrontation content. And let's hope we can build new Confrontation communities with either the old games that are long dead and buried, and we're still resurrecting them in different ways, or the new stuff like Confrontation Continuum from Temple of the West. Okay, guys, thanks, guys. Take care, and see you in the next one.